Next job, and as you can see, I don't understand why this Golf is driving in the middle of the road. Oh, now he's not, as soon as I turn the camera on. Typical! Seriously though, he was driving in the middle of the road, like literally in the middle of the road. Anyway, next job is not far away! Right, and here we are at our job now with 2006 Avensis. I don't know how many miles it's done, 224 kilometers. And well, customers just bought it, customers of mine, and they have just bought it, so they just want to do some routine maintenance. He's ordered a few bits himself. He's replaced the battery. He said it was a little bit weak, so he's got a brand new battery. You can see the oil maintenance lights on. They've never really owned a diesel before, so he's changing heater plugs. He's just doing preventive maintenance, which is key, you know, to keep a car good. So, you know, there we go. So I'm going to show you what I need to do, and I've got to obviously check the car out, just see if there's any other little bits. I've noticed a few little bits, but we're going to check it out and see what else we notice. Right, just look at this 2006 Avensis. Just look how clean this is. No scrapes, no bings, no nothing. I'm really surprised actually. One thing I have noticed is these tyres are 2007. The mark's actually on the tyres. I can see it's been ran flat once. Not really so much of a big deal as such, but it's something you want to keep an eye on. But what I have managed to be able to see is it's cracked. So this car hasn't really been ran a lot. This is essentially sun damage. But what I've also noticed is, if you look on the outside, we've got a lot of meat left on the outside of the tyre, but in the middle, we've got hardly any. These two front tyres have been overinflated. So what happens is there's a big bulge in the middle, so the car only runs on the middle of the tyre, which causes a few problems. Here we go, got a nice outside station. Say hello. And what happens is the car rolls on the tyre and it doesn't feel great, but it also destroys the inside of the tyre. So these front tyres are essentially destroyed, not just because of the cracks, because it's been overinflated. So don't overinflate your tyres, because your car won't feel good and it will also destroy your tyres. I'm just heating this up at the minute because we're changing the oil filter and we're doing the heater plugs. He's got a new battery, so we're just going to go through everything. The water jets aren't working, that's going to be for another video, but it's just preventive maintenance, going through the whole car to see what he's got. But at the minute I'm really impressed with the age of this car and just how clean it is. You can tell it's been looked after really well, which is obviously good for the customer. Right, so what I'm going to do is, before I put the heater plugs in, because they're awkward to do and, you know, potentially heater plugs can be an absolute nightmare. Technically on some cars should only take you a few minutes, but could take you hours and days if they break. It's just, anyway, it's a hassle. I'm just going to test the resistance, because I've showed on some of my other videos, I brought new glow plugs and they've tested bad. So just because they're new doesn't mean they're bad. Always test them. So what I'm going to do is get my multimeter, just turn it on to resistance, and we're going to check them. So let me just get this set up properly and we'll check them. Now, before you do a resistance check, it's vitally important you touch your leads together. Now be careful, don't try and touch them together with your fingers, because if your fingers are damp and stuff, that can obviously affect the reading. But you want to touch them together, and if your multimeter allows you, you want to basically reset it so it's close to zero as possible. But if your multimeter doesn't allow you to do it, you just take off whatever number you have. So if I touch these two together, for example, we have 0.2, 0.3. So I'm going to take off 0.2. Is it 0.2? Yeah. I'm going to just take off just 0.2. This meter does allow me to reset it, but your meter might not. So just for this, we're going to take off 0.2. So what I want to do is, because these earth themselves through the block, we need to check these that they're not shorted or high resistance inside, because like I said, just because they're new, it basically means nothing. So I'm going to try and do this one-handed. It's going to be a bit awkward. Can I do it one-handed? No, I can't do it one-handed. Oh, there we go. Hold on. No, I'm struggling to do this one-handed. Right, so that is basically one. because we got to take 0.2 off it, so that's basically one. I'm absolutely perfectly happy with one. I was just struggling to do that one-handed. You don't really want it any higher than that. If it's higher than that, the glow plug is destroyed, even if it's new. You want it in and around the 1, just below, just above. Like I said, we took the 0.2 off that, so it essentially becomes 1. So I've tested all these are all good, and I'm happy enough now to put them in. It only takes a few seconds, but if I was to put these in and the customer still complains of a bad start, you're going to think in your head, well, I've changed my glow plugs are fine. Well, no, not necessarily. So this definitely tells me that all these glow plugs are fine, and let's get them put in, sorted. Right, I've actually got a cameraman today, believe it or not. So if you want to say hello.
How's it going, lads? You all right? Ladies?
It's important to say hello to the ladies.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
So we've got the customer actually right beside me, who's going to be my cameraman.
I don't trust them.
Yeah, just to make sure I'm doing the job properly. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take out the heater plugs first. Now, I have heated up the actual car, which can kind of help. We just need to take these little caps off to see the bolts. But what we do need to be careful of is heater plugs can break. They can cause all sorts of problems. And I did a video before where I was showing people what to do to open and close it, and it was making like a squeaking noise, and people were saying I should have put WD-40 on it. Well, WD-40 would have only stopped the noise, it wouldn't have stopped the carbon buildup. It's the carbon buildup in the threads, which is here, that can cause an issue, and also the carbon buildup at the top of the tips can cause an issue. WD-40 isn't going to break down that, it'll just stop the actual noise. So let me get all these caps off, and then we'll see if we can get these off fairly easy. Time will tell. Right, we've taken off the bus bar, and it's always a good idea just to clean this because you've got it off, so just make sure you clean it for the next heater plugs to go on. And now we can clearly see the 4 heater plugs. This car is not too bad, you can see them a lot easier than most cars, but we could still have an issue breaking them. This one is actually broke. I don't know if you can see that, it's moving quite a lot, so the actual element of that is broke. But what I'm going to do is, if I break any, I'm going to blame the customer for looking at me. So it's not my fault. Yeah, exactly. So I'm allowed to break all 4 of these and blame him. So we really don't have an issue. How happy would you be if I broke all 4 of them?
Oh, fucking delighted. I'd have that company for the next 6 fucking months.
He's got a spare room for me, he said, so I'm actually alright.
Full Irish breakfast.
Oh, it's B&B as well. Oh, even better, yeah.
Or continental.
No, Irish breakfast, give me that. Right, one came out okay. So, my cameraman is now holding his breath because I've told him it's his fault if I break it.
And I said it's a load of bollocks.
You'll see.
We'll wait. We'll edit the fucking language out later.
Now,
There
again.
you go, piece of piss. I should have done this job myself. I would have saved myself 20 quid.
Oh, yeah, at least. 20 quid a plug. Plus fuel.
Fucking hell. Never mind the comedy fucking act.
Plus my camera. I mean, that's how much it is for my camera.
Well, that's fucking grand, isn't it? I'm happy
Yeah.
with that.
No, that's come out.
Yeah.
Oh. See,
Lovely.
there's actually got a big. That's actually carboning up at the top. This is the one. This is the one that is broke. So this is the one, you can see there's a bit of damage there, but that's not a problem. But this is the one. Now look at the big lumps. Is the camera showing that?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go now.
That one is damaged, but we knew that anyway before we took it out. This was the one. If I was going to have any problems, I think this was going to be the problem one. But it's out.
Okay.
So there's no point of showing the other ones. Look at that. Did you see that? How terrible was that? He had his finger there all the time. Did you see that? Fucking shocking. Call yourself a cameraman. Fuck. That's just added another €100 on the bill. So these next 2 should come out fairly easy. You can see.
Just before the snap.
Yeah, just before. Yeah, I knew I shouldn't have said that. But like I said, if they snap, it's your fault. It's not me that's going to pay for it. Right, I'm going to whip these other ones out and then we should be good. So what we're going to do is, this is our bad one. well, one that we know is bad because this is moving here and we've got all that crap at the tip. This is the other one we took out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my apprentice.
Come cameraman.
Cameraman and apprentice.
Oh my God.
And what we're going to do is we're going to test the first one we took out. So he's just going to put that on there. And as we can see, we've got 0.8. So that's absolutely fine. Even though it's old, but it's technically fine. This is the one that I felt was damaged and the one that we could possibly have an issue with. So we're going to do the same thing again. And there we go, look. Completely and utterly shorted. That was not working at all. So we knew we had one that was bad. And didn't you say you had an issue with it starting?
Oh, yeah.
Or it was kind of slow starting?
Very slow.
Very slow starting,
Just run the bappy down.
Yeah.
You know,
so there's chances are we've got another dodgy one, but we've definitely got one dodgy out of the 4, which is obviously good to see because we're replacing it with a new one.
Good news for today. Bad news for yesterday.
And as you can see, it's still frosty and kind of, you know, cold here. So heater plugs do kind of come into play a little bit. We'll take out the other 2, and if they're bad as well, we'll show you them. Right, we had a couple of issues. Well, not a couple of issues, just one kind of small issue. You have to be very, very careful. When this heater plug was in, just down there, this bracket pushed up against there, and what was happening is it wasn't allowing the plug to come out. Now, don't be tempted to force that up and around. Might be okay with the old plug getting it out, but with the new plug, if you crack that end and it falls off inside your engine block, you're in a lot of trouble. So we just moved that bolt off a little bit. That then allows you to slide out, and we'll just test this. It's okay, but the resistance is a bit too high from what I would like. So we're 2.5, which is a little bit too high. Still most probably work, but only not working to its full potential. So that's technically now 2 bad plugs that have come out. The third one we'll see in a second. So we basically have 3 that are, 1 that's completely gone and 2 that are a bit dodgy. This was up on 5. Yeah, look, it's all over the place. It's just no good. So we only really had 1 working out of 3. That's good news for the customer because it means I don't have to come back to actually do more work on the car. But what the customer doesn't realise now is because we know we got 3 fucked, my price has just gone up. Because it's going to be okay after this. So my price has automatically just gone up. If they're all good, my price would come down because I'd have to come back.
I introduced them to that fucking German
Right, and what you have to do is be very, very careful when you tighten these. I've told the customer I need to get my 1/2 inch or my inch bar and tighten these so tight that he can't do them himself next time. Right.
He's really stuck for work.
What you need to do is very, very careful. You just nip these just like that. I'm not using the full thing of this ratchet. You just nip them because over tightening these causes issues. If you're not used to them, you wouldn't think they're tight enough, but they are. So yeah, we're getting good. What I want to do is always screw them in by hand first. Never get the ratchet. There's been 3 professionally screwed in, and
It's not supposed to have oil on the
and the 4th one, however, well, that's, you can make up your own mind on the 4th one. So we're just going to do the last one now. There's a bit of a nip. There we go. So we now have all 4 of them on. 3 professional and 1, you know, well. Everyone remember, number 4. Anything happens to number 4?
Number 4, I'm not paying for.
Yeah, you've saved 20 quid there for putting it in. So what we need to do now is screw this plate back on. We had to undo the wire as well just to get number 4 in.
And he's talking, I'm doing all the work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would I do it? I mean, you're paying me for, and you're doing the work. I mean, that's just like heaven.
Manna.
So what we're going to do is we'll just put the bus bar back on now, and yeah, we'll just see if this bad boy starts easier. Right, also what we've got to do is we've got to clean these little nuts that go onto the bus bar, because as you can see, the rust that's on them will also not help you know, conduct electricity to actually power these properly. So we need to clean them as well. Right, let's watch the customer struggle. concentration on his face. Look at this. Look. No pressure. No pressure. He's already dropped it once.
Oh, he's on. He's on.
You got it? Oh, I should have turned the camera on when you actually dropped it.
Should have beat the fucking horse. See it jump.
I said, whatever you do, do not drop it. So what's he do? He drops it.
That's pure fucking pressure.
Right, we're all back. I've got dog hair in my mouth, but anyway. We are all back, and be very, very careful when you're tightening these bolts on the top, because what you can do is you can snap the internals of the glow plug. That's what actually happened to number 3. Someone's obviously over tightened it, and also this one. I've just wedged a bar in there to stop that kinking and breaking. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start this up. We've got to do an oil change on it, but we're going to start this up and see what it sounds like. Right, let's see what it sounds like. Beautiful.
Super.
That's only because it only started that easy because the first 3 were professionally fitted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Oh, glory to the king, huh?
Number 4 is dodgy, but we'll ignore that for the minute. So we're just going to let this heat up now, and we've got to do an oil change. Right, we have now done everything we need to do. We're just draining the oil. The oil is being drained professionally because obviously I'm doing it. So what we're doing is we're just finishing it off. Everything is good on the car, and yeah, so I'm going to sign off. We're going to say goodbye to our apprentice and cameraman. And that's it, everyone. So look, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. You can see how dark it is out here now if I turn my light off, or the light on the camera is on.
In Lincoln, have a look at the cathedral. It's fucking brilliant.
Up Lincoln. And yeah, that's it. So as always, please like, share, comment and subscribe. Links up here, links down below. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.